Who's running that house? Is she running that house or is David running that house?
That's a hard question, but I can tell you when I lived there, Louise made all the decisions, but it was like David would stand back and watch with his arms folded all the time, and they were right on top of each other all the time. And then after she would make a decision, they'd make eye contact and she'd say, right, David? And David would either say right or he'd say, well, but Louise pretty much made all the decisions at that time. Now that was in 1996.
She was a controlling personality.
Even as a child, it was like, you know, I can't believe Mommy and Daddy told me not to do that. I mean, it was like she'd do it or die. It was kind of like the whole thing about she couldn't get married, so she ran off. I mean, Louise did what she wanted to do.
She even made the oldest ask permission to eat before she could eat.
Yes. She would call them down for dinner, and usually one at a time, and she would have the plate sitting on the table. And I remember particularly with the older child, the oldest, she was always harder on her for some reason than the other children. And they would make eye contact. She would sometimes grab her hand, and they would smile between each other. And then she would say, okay, sit down. And then she would literally just sit there, remember, with her little arms like this, waiting for permission to eat. And then she would tell her, okay, you can eat. She would eat, and then she would tell her, she would sit there and she would ask her if she was done, and she would say yes. I mean, it was like a routine every meal. And then she would say, okay, get up. And then she'd get up. Again, Louise would take her by the hands, look at her, smile. It was like a secret code, and then she would send her back to her room.